Somewhere in America right now, a grandmother is paying 40% more than the person behind her for the exact same can of soup. Same shelf, same store, same product, different price. Because she does not own a smartphone and cannot download an app. That is not a glitch. That is a business model. 5 American retailers are actively robbing you in 2026. One of them pleaded guilty to federal criminal charges and kept operating anyway. Another one shrank your cereal box by 4 ounces and kept the price exactly the same and hoped you would never notice. By the end of this, you will know all 5, the corporate decisions behind each one, and the 5 retailers that are actually worth your money. Keep a tight grip on your wallet. Let's go. Worst number 5. Walmart. Walmart is the largest retailer on Earth. $648 billion in annual revenue. More locations than any competitor in American history. And right now, in 2026, they are quietly running one of the most widespread consumer deception operations in retail. They call it shrinkflation. You call it getting ripped off. A consumer advocacy organization tracked over 200 grocery and household products across Walmart locations in 8 states between 2022 and 2025. What they found should make every Walmart customer furious. 67% of the products monitored had their package sizes reduced without any proportional price decrease. A cereal box that held 18 ounces in 2022 holds 14 ounces today at the same shelf price. A 12-roll package of paper towels is now 10 rolls. Same price. Smaller product. Walmart pocketed the difference and said nothing. A shopper in Illinois who tracked her weekly grocery spend and package sizes for 18 months documented her findings online. The price looks the same. The bag is definitely not the same. I started weighing things. She had to start weighing things. At the world's largest retailer. But the shrinkflation is only the visible part of the problem. Walmart sources products from thousands of suppliers across dozens of countries, and the audit infrastructure behind that supply chain has been repeatedly flagged by independent consumer safety organizations as dangerously insufficient for the volume of product moving through it. FDA and USDA recall announcements through 2024 and 2025 consistently feature Walmart-stocked items across food, personal care, and household goods categories. Then there is the self-checkout betrayal. Walmart has aggressively rolled out self-checkout across its locations as a direct labor cost reduction strategy. Fewer employees, smaller payroll, bigger margins. A 2024 consumer investigation found that self-checkout price discrepancies at Walmart locations were significantly more likely to overcharge than undercharge. Promotional prices failing to apply. Loyalty discounts not registering. Every error in the company's favor. It is not a coincidence when it happens this consistently. It is a system. Walmart's scale means every bad decision it makes affects more people than the equivalent decision at any other retailer on this list. But the chain at worst number 4 uses its pricing structure to deceive customers in a way that is more targeted, more deliberate, and more insulting than anything Walmart has documented. Worst number 4. Kroger is the largest traditional supermarket operator in America. Nearly 2,800 stores, $150 billion in annual revenue. And in 2024, investigative reporters caught them testing something that should have ended careers and triggered congressional hearings. Surge pricing. At a grocery store, reporting from multiple outlets revealed that Kroger had tested, and in some markets implemented digital shelf tags capable of adjusting prices in real time based on demand, time of day, and customer data signals. The same algorithm that makes your Uber ride cost triple during a rainstorm. Applied to milk, applied to bread, applied to the groceries families buy because they have no choice. Kroger denied it was surge pricing. They said the digital tags were designed to offer discounts during slow periods. Nobody believed them. You do not invest in AI-powered shelf technology to give discounts. A Kroger customer in Ohio, who noticed price changes on items between picking them up and reaching the checkout, described the experience in a formal consumer complaint. The price on the shelf was different from the price at the register. When I asked, nobody could explain why. Nobody could explain why. At a $150 billion company, the labor record makes it worse. Kroger has faced multiple major strikes and near strikes across its unionized workforce through 2024 and 2025. Workers citing wage stagnation, understaffed departments, and gutted healthcare benefits. Understaffed stores produce a direct consumer harm that most shoppers never connect to the corporate decisions causing it. Empty shelves, infrequent produce rotation, deli and meat counters running without the trained staff needed to maintain food safety compliance. A longtime Kroger employee in Michigan, who participated in the 2024 strike, described the conditions to a local television crew. "We have people running 3 departments at once. Nobody is checking temperatures, nobody is rotating product properly. And then customers wonder why they got sick. The failed merger attempt with Albertsons consumed years of management attention and hundreds of millions in legal spending that could have fixed every problem described above. Instead, Kroger emerged from the collapse with deferred renovations, aging refrigeration equipment, and a customer experience so inconsistent across locations that calling them the same chain requires genuine generosity. If watching these pricing games play out in real time makes your blood boil, subscribe to this channel right now. Because the next 3 entries include retailers whose problems go from deceptive straight into dangerous. Worst number 3. Dollar General has 19,000 locations across America. More stores than any other retailer in the country. They have planted themselves specifically in rural and underserved communities where they are frequently the only accessible retail option for miles. And they have used that captive customer base to run one of the most negligent food safety operations in modern retail history. In 2023, federal regulators imposed a record fine on Dollar General following findings of unsafe conditions at multiple distribution centers and stores. The specific finding at a cited Tennessee location appeared in an FDA inspection report with language that does not leave room for interpretation. Live rodents observed in dry storage area adjacent to food products intended for sale. Live rodents, next to food. In a store where people buy groceries because there is nowhere else to go. Dollar General paid the fine. They issued statements about corrective action. Then the follow-up inspections arrived. Several previously cited locations had not fully corrected the underlying conditions. The rodents were still there. The violations were still there. The corrective action was designed to pass one inspection, not to actually fix the problem. The problem is the staffing model. Dollar General locations are frequently operated by 1 or 2 employees per shift. One person, covering a full retail floor of food, household products, medications, and fresh produce. No capacity for cleaning, no capacity for proper stock rotation, no capacity for pest management. A former Dollar General store manager, quoted in a 2024 labor complaint filed with the Department of Labor, described the situation without any corporate filter. "You can't clean what you don't have time to even see." Dollar General's stock trades on the New York Stock Exchange. Its executives collected millions in compensation in 2024. Its lowest-paid workers were managing rodent-infested food storage areas alone, on minimum wage, with no backup. That gap is not an accident. It is a cost structure that executives chose and shareholders approved. Independent product testing conducted by consumer safety organizations in 2024 found that several Dollar General private label products contained ingredients or compounds not listed on the label, including in personal care and household cleaning categories. In a store where the customer has no alternative and no leverage, that is not just a violation. It is an exploitation. What the chain at worst number 2 did crossed a line that most retailers never approach. It is documented in federal criminal proceedings. A guilty plea. Not a settlement, not a consent decree. A criminal conviction. Worst number 2, Family Dollar. In 2022, FDA investigators walked into a Family Dollar distribution center in West Memphis, Arkansas, and found conditions so severe that what followed became one of the most significant federal food safety enforcement actions in American retail history. Live rodents throughout the facility. Dead rodents. Rodent feces covering storage areas. urine staining on surfaces where food products, medications, and cosmetics were stored before being shipped to hundreds of retail locations. The FDA field inspector's report, later made public through court proceedings, described what investigators found as among the most severe rodent infestation findings documented by this office in a food distribution facility. Among the most severe. In the entire documented history of that federal office, Family Dollar was forced to recall products from over 400 stores across 6 states. The recall covered food products, over-the-counter medications, cosmetics, everything that had moved through that facility before the contamination was discovered. Families in 6 states had purchased products stored alongside this infestation. Most of them never knew. The company did not negotiate a settlement. They pleaded guilty to federal criminal charges and paid a substantial fine. A criminal conviction. One of the largest discount retail chains in America found criminally liable for the conditions inside its own distribution network. What happened next is the part that should make every Family Dollar customer permanently furious. Subsequent inspections at other Family Dollar distribution facilities found conditions consistent with the original West Memphis findings. The criminal conviction did not fix the system. Because the system was never an accident. It was a cost structure, minimum maintenance investment, minimum staffing, maximum profit extraction from a customer base with limited alternatives. A customer in Arkansas, who had purchased food products from a store in the recall zone, submitted a formal complaint to the FDA after learning about the contamination. I had been buying food there for my family for years. When I found out what was in that warehouse, I felt genuinely sick about what we might have consumed. Family Dollar's customer base is disproportionately low income. The people least able to shop elsewhere. The people with the fewest resources to absorb the consequences of discovering their groceries came from a criminally contaminated supply chain. The retailer, at worst number 1, had the brand history, the corporate resources, and the customer trust to be genuinely excellent. It chose something else entirely. And the evidence of that choice is sitting in inspection records and Attorney General complaint databases that most shoppers never think to check. Worst number 1, Safeway. Safeway has been operating in American communities for over 100 years. It is owned by Albertsons Companies, one of the largest food and drug retailers in the country. $80 billion in annual revenue, thousands of locations, decades of customer loyalty built on the promise of a reliable, trustworthy grocery experience. Here is what Albertsons did with that loyalty. They built a 2-tier pricing system designed to extract money from the customers least equipped to fight back. Here is how it works. Safeway advertises sale prices throughout the store. But those sale prices are only available to customers who have downloaded the Safeway app and registered a loyalty card. Customers who have not, elderly customers without smartphones, customers without reliable data plans, customers in lower income communities with limited digital access pay the full price, the higher price, for the exact same product on the exact same shelf. A 2025 consumer investigation found that the price difference between loyalty and non-loyalty pricing at Safeway locations in California reached as high as 40% on some regularly purchased items. 40% on groceries. Applied systematically to the customers least likely to navigate a digital loyalty program. A senior customer in Sacramento discovered the differential when a family member helped her compare receipts. She described the experience to a local television reporter with a clarity that no corporate statement ever matched. I have been shopping there for 30 years. I had no idea I was paying more than the person behind me for the exact same thing. 30 years of loyalty, rewarded with a 40% markup because she does not own a smartphone. The food safety record compounds the betrayal. Health inspection records across Safeway locations in California, Washington, Oregon, and Arizona show recurring violations concentrated specifically in the meat and seafood departments, the exact departments Safeway markets most aggressively as premium differentiators against discount competitors. You pay the premium price. The department does not maintain the premium standard. Consumer complaints filed with state attorneys general in multiple Safeway markets through 2025 document a consistent pattern of digital coupon redemption failures. Advertised discounts not applying at checkout. Customers who do not audit their receipts paying the higher price. Customers who do catch the error, having to request manual corrections from staff. Every time the error goes uncorrected, Safeway keeps the difference. At this scale, this frequency, and with this consistency, that is not a glitch. Albertsons companies made a decision about what kind of retailer Safeway would be. They decided that deceiving the customers who trusted them most was acceptable. The evidence is in every receipt that did not match the shelf price and every complaint that never got a response. Safeway is worse number one, not because it lacks resources. It is worse number one because it used its resources to build a more sophisticated system for taking money from people who trusted it. Now, here are 5 retailers that made completely different decisions. Best number 5. Trader Joe's. Here is what a retailer looks like when nobody from Wall Street is running the pricing algorithm. Trader Joe's does not have a loyalty program. There is no app to download. There is no 2-tier pricing system where the person behind you pays less because they remembered to register a card. The price on the shelf is the price at the register, for every customer, every time, no exceptions. About 80% of Trader Joe's products are store brand, sourced through direct supplier relationships that the company audits independently. No layered distributor chains. No commodity sourcing from whoever offered the lowest bid on a given Tuesday. Direct relationships. Direct oversight. The kind of supply chain visibility that makes the contamination failures documented at Family Dollar and Dollar General structurally less likely because the gaps those failures exploited simply do not exist here. Health inspection records for Trader Joe's locations consistently rank among the best in the traditional grocery category. The smaller store format is part of the reason. Fewer temperature zones to manage. Simpler product rotation. Less operational complexity means fewer opportunities for the kind of violations that fill the inspection records of every chain on the worst list. The product rotation model is the other part. Trader Joe's frequently discontinues items and introduces new ones, which means suppliers operate under a standing threat of losing the relationship if quality slips. That threat produces a different kind of supplier behavior than the multi-year shelf commitment contracts that traditional grocery chains use, where a supplier knows the product will stay regardless of performance. A longtime Trader Joe's customer in Seattle captured the brand's quiet achievement in a review that has been shared widely. "I have never once questioned whether I was getting what the label said. I can't say that about most places I shop." That is not a small thing. After everything on the worst list, the ability to trust a label without thinking about it is worth more than most people realize until they lose it. Trader Joe's operates at a specific scale, though. The chain at best number 4 figured out how to build the same level of trust at a size that serves an entirely different kind of customer. Best number 4. Costco. Costco cracked a code that every other retailer on the worst list has failed to crack. They figured out that if you remove the pressure to extract margin from every individual product, you can build the kind of customer loyalty that makes extraction unnecessary. The membership fee does that. $65 a year. That fee funds the operation, which means the groceries can be priced close to cost, which means the customer gets genuine value, which means the customer renews the membership. Costco's membership renewal rate is above 90%. That is not customer loyalty built on habit or convenience. That is customer loyalty built on the experience of actually getting what you paid for. The Kirkland Signature Private Label Program is the most concrete expression of what that model produces. Costco conducts extensive supplier audits specifically for Kirkland products. They have built a documented record of pulling products from shelves at the first credible sign of a supply chain problem, before a confirmed incident, before the FDA issues an alert. Independent consumer safety organizations tracking retail recall response times have consistently found Costco faster than every traditional grocery competitor in the comparison. The employee compensation model is the operational foundation that makes all of it sustainable. Costco starting wages and benefits have consistently exceeded the retail average for years. The retention rates that produces are not comparable to competitors. A Costco employee in Washington state, who had been with the company for over a decade, described the practical outcome in a staff forum. You actually know what you're doing here because they let you stay long enough to learn it. That's not nothing in retail. That institutional knowledge built by staff who stay for years rather than weeks is what shows up in the inspection records, the recall response times, and the customer experience consistency that no high-turnover competitor can replicate regardless of how much they spend on training videos. Hit the like button right now if you think more retailers should be building their model around paying employees enough to stay, because the next 3 entries show what that commitment looks like when it goes even further. Best number 3. Publix does not answer to Wall Street. It answers to its own employees. Publix is significantly employee-owned. The people stocking the shelves, running the deli counter, and rotating the produce hold a direct ownership stake in the company's performance. That changes the calculation at the end of every shift. It changes the decision about whether to check the temperature on the meat case one more time before clocking out. It changes everything. That ownership structure produces inspection records that are consistently among the lowest critical violation rates of any major grocery chain in the country. The bakery and deli departments, the highest food safety risk categories in any grocery operation, are specifically cited in multiple regional health department comparative reports as standout performers across the public system. The departments where other chains rack up violations are the departments where Publix consistently excels. The ownership model is why. The pricing model avoids every practice that appears on the worst list. Weekly BOGO deals are clearly communicated and consistently honored at checkout. No 2-tier loyalty pricing. No surge pricing algorithm. No shrinkflation packages. The price on the shelf is the price at the register for every customer, whether they have a smartphone or not. A Publix department manager in Florida, who has been with the company for over 15 years, described the ownership model's effect on daily behavior in a local business profile. When the store does well, I do well directly. That changes how you treat the meat case at the end of a long shift. It changes how you treat the meat case at the end of a long shift. That single sentence explains the entire Publix inspection record. The chain at best number 2 has taken transparency further than Publix, publishing supply chain information that Albertsons, Kroger, and Walmart have collectively never come close to voluntarily disclosing. Best number 2. HEB. HEB is privately held. There is no quarterly earnings call. There are no shareholders demanding margin expansion. There is no Wall Street analyst on a video call asking why food safety audits are costing more this quarter than last quarter. That private ownership structure is the single biggest reason HEB performs differently from every publicly traded competitor on this list. When the choice is between investing in supply chain transparency and protecting shareholder returns, HEB invests in supply chain transparency. Every time. Without the negotiation that defines every food safety decision at Kroger and Walmart and Safeway. The supply chain is built around direct sourcing relationships with regional Texas farms and producers. Shorter chains, better traceability, fresher product. When something goes wrong in a supply chain this direct and this transparent, HEB knows about it fast. Compare that to Walmart, sourcing from thousands of suppliers across dozens of countries with an audit infrastructure that independent organizations have repeatedly described as insufficient for the volume it is supposed to cover. The private label program has earned a reputation that most national brands would pay significant money to manufacture. A food blogger in Austin conducted a systematic blind taste test of HEB store brand products against national brand equivalents across 30 categories and published the findings publicly. In 22 out of 30 categories, the HEB store brand was preferred. That does not happen by accident. It does not happen by accident. It happens because HEB is not buying the cheapest available commodity and putting its name on the package. It is sourcing through relationships it has built and verified and maintained, because there is no earnings call next quarter rewarding the cheaper decision. Health inspection records for HEB locations rank among the best of any retailer in the country across all categories and price points. The company's disaster response during the hurricane and winter storm events that have repeatedly tested Texas infrastructure has become a case study cited in supply chain management research. HEB consistently restocks and reopens faster than every competitor in affected markets. A customer in Houston, writing after the 2024 storm season, described what that meant in practical terms. Every other store was dark for days. HEB was open. I don't think I can explain what that meant to people who needed food. The chain at best number 1 has done something none of the others on either list have fully achieved. It made the customer's ability to independently verify every sourcing claim the entire foundation of its retail identity. Best number 1, Sprouts Farmers. Market. Sprouts publishes the names of its farms. Not a general statement about sourcing philosophy. Not a commitment to responsible procurement buried in a corporate sustainability report that nobody reads. The actual farm names, the actual locations, posted publicly, available to any customer who wants to check. Go to the Sprouts website right now. Look up the produce you bought last Tuesday. Find the farm it came from. Call them if you want. Sprouts built its entire retail identity around the proposition that you should be able to do exactly that and find exactly what you expect to find. A customer in Phoenix who used the sourcing information to verify the origin of produce she had purchased wrote in a review that has been shared extensively in consumer advocacy communities. I actually looked it up. The farm is real. The location matches. That is not something I expected to be able to verify. She did not expect to be able to verify it. Because at Walmart, Kroger, Safeway, and Dollar General, you cannot. You take their word for it. At Sprouts, you do not have to take their word for anything. Health inspection records for Sprouts locations across the Southwest, West, and expanding Southeast consistently show some of the lowest violation rates of any retailer in the country in any category at any price point. The Produce Forward operating model is part of why. Smaller deli departments, smaller prepared food sections, less exposure in the high-risk categories where most grocery food safety failures originate. More investment proportionally in the training and temperature monitoring those smaller departments require. The pricing model is clean. No two-tier loyalty pricing system penalizing customers without smartphones. No shrinkflation packages at unchanged prices. No surge pricing algorithm adjusting what you pay for chicken based on what time you walk through the door. The price on the shelf is the price at the register. For everyone, every time. The employee retention record outperforms the specialty grocery category average. Staff who stay for years rather than weeks develop the kind of product knowledge and safe handling habits that cannot be installed through a training video and cannot be replicated in a store running on minimum wage and maximum turnover. Independent satisfaction surveys conducted in 2025 placed Sprouts at or near the top in trust, perceived freshness, and likelihood to recommend, outperforming chains with marketing budgets many times larger and location counts many times greater. That result does not come from advertising spend. It comes from a customer who checked the farm name, found the farm, and told everyone they know. Every retailer on this list made choices. Walmart chose shrinkflation. Kroger chose surge pricing algorithms. Dollar General chose one employee and no pest control. Family Dollar chose to keep shipping from a criminally contaminated warehouse. Safeway chose to charge seniors 40% more because they do not own a smartphone. Sprouts chose to publish the farm name and let you verify it yourself. That choice is why it sits at number 1. Thanks for watching. If this changed how you think about where you spend your grocery and retail budget, drop a comment below and tell us which entry made you the most angry. Want to see which fast food chains are making the exact same supply chain decisions as the worst retailers on this list? Click the video on the left and I will meet you there.